Matthew Herbert Big Band, and the track The Story from the album There's Me and There's You, which is released in January. Steve Show 6 Music, and we've already enjoyed some tremendous live MCing. I think, Rufus, a man like yourself, who is a big fan, I know, of Hibbsy Hop, you'll have been a big fan.
That's right. Well, as I was saying as I came back into the studio, it was so similar to the kind of work I do. Is
oh, well...
it gives me something to aspire to.
Good. And if you could have passed on any tips to her, what would they have been?
That's a very good question, actually. I would have observed more quatrain rhyming schemes and paid a bit more of a nod to the 8-line, 6-line sonnet construction, which she toyed with and cocked a snook at us.
Oh, this is typical with this. That's the problem with your people from your council estates and the like. They're always cocking snooks.
Hey, that's right.
Aren't they? Okay, so I'm afraid you're the last man standing when it comes to the appraisals. Let's hear your music.
Yeah, come on. Haven't heard this for a while, have we?
I've forgotten how good it was. State your understanding of your main duties and responsibilities.
My job, Steve, is to tie a jaunty cravat around the neck of the scraggy neck of this occasionally, a ropey and common show, and make it polite and gentlemanly.
What would you consider to be your most important achievement over the last year? Show related.
Oh right, okay. So I can't mention getting married or being in that movie and that. No. This is purely about the shoe. Most important achievement. I think listening to a lot of new music.
Of course.
From the Pigeonhole, given out to us at the week. Listeners probably know that, but Steve gets hundreds of CDs a week.
Oh yeah.
Of which we get maybe half a dozen to listen to, and I've worked my way through a lot of new music. That's a big achievement, for me.
Good. Did you enjoy any of it?
Some of it. I should say that I consider myself to be like the Richard Madeley of this band of men and women, because much like Madeley will look at a new haircut or a new dress on the show and just go, oh, just seems very nice. Absolutely no knowledge really to back up his opinions. But in a way, I'm the conduit for the listener. I'm the listener's eyes and ears of the show, because sometimes I know nothing about new music, but I'm a kind of sounded good to me, kind of blank canvas.
You really are not the eyes and ears of any of our listeners. I can assure you, unless we're being listened to at Balmoral as we speak. What do you dislike and what do you like about this organisation,
the BBC, that we call the BBC? When I am happiest working for the BBC, I consider it to be the greatest institution on earth.
Sure.
Nation shall speak unto nation, and so on. I like sticking a microphone under someone's nose and saying, hello, I'm from the BBC.
You like that,
proud.
yeah.
And I think that at its best, it's a very avuncular, benign, uncle-like organisation.
Yes.
Auntie, if you like.
Exactly, yeah. But what do you dislike? Because you love its kind of colonial past.
Of course.
Sure.
Of course I do. And nothing pleases me more than to light a cigarette and look longingly into my microphone and think of the hearts and minds that I'm changing by speaking into it. When I'm less happy with the station is the fact that since we joined every Sunday or so, doors seems to have been closing all around the BBC. People have been upset, put out, distressed, and made unhappy by what the BBC do. We've lied to you, we've taken your money, we've pretended you voted for things that you didn't, and we've ignored certainly legal votes that you came up with.
You'd like to apologise?
I'd like to apologise on behalf of the BBC for everything we've done wrong.
It's about blooming time. Listen, I would love to hear a musical choice from you.
Okay.
I fear that in order to play Weekender, which I was keen to do, which I've promised the listener, I may have to play that for us now. And if we can squeeze in your musical choice, then we will do so at the end.
Okay.
But as I say, Sammy, you may not have been familiar with this tune.
Not at all.
Oh, well, this is exciting because, as I say, it was a big tune when I was younger. I really enjoyed it. I know, Harry, you feel the same way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really don't think I've heard it in its entirety since it originally was released in, what, 92?
Yes, or 91, I think.
91. So, here it is. You were 5 years old, Sammy. This is the first time you've heard it. For a generation, this is a big, big tune.
It's quite exciting.
And we shall see if it stands the test of time. All 12 minutes of it. Here it is, Flowered Up, Weekender.
Your niece Eileen has written to me asking for your favourite tune, and it's coming up now.
You can take that mail and that franking machine and all that other rubbish I have to go about with, and you can stuff them right up your...
Edgy.
Very edgy.
Very, very
I
edgy.
say.
So there we are, version of Flowered Up's Weekender on the Steve Show 6 Music, and I think it was released 92. We're thinking maybe 91. It's quite difficult. I'm trying to figure it out on the web, but it's a little bit confusing. But we'll go with 91, 92. And so, Sammy, that was the first time you've heard it. What was your thoughts?
Incredible. I'm really taken aback by that, because there's a lot of 90s stuff that was a bit wishy-washy, but 12 minutes of pure enjoyment, that's going straight on the MP3 player. Many are available.
Well, if you buy it on the well-known MP3 purchase site, you have to buy the entire Greatest Hits album in order to get that track.
Oh, is it a special album one?
So in order to... Because I guess, there's not a lot of people downloading album tracks by Flowered Up, sadly. It was interesting. I was looking on the official Heavenly Records website, and it says that the peak point of Flowered Up's notoriety was the legendary debauchery party in South London, held around the release of Weekender. Barry Mooncult, from the band, you'll remember him of course, had been doing double glazing at a mansion house south of the river. The owner of the place had to flee the country double quick in mysterious circumstances. So, sensing an opportunity for insanity, Barry, still in possession of the keys, invited the band and friends, their friends, and then anyone they knew, to the house. The party lasted a week, saw appearances from the likes of Kylie and Hanif Qureshi, and saw the band and management sat stark naked apart from borrowed top hats, you'd have enjoyed that, Rufus, in a jacuzzi. So that's the kind of antics that they got up to, and sadly that sort of thing which led to the band imploding. And it says again on the official Heavenly website that keyboard player Tim Dorney went on to form Republica, the band Republica, and that you're all wondering what happened to Barry Mooncult. Well, he went back to double glazing with a sideline importing pornography. That's what it says.
Just a quick dignity at work point. You don't seek out opportunities for insanity. Insanity is something that very much affects you, and you can't pick and choose when to be insane.
I apologise. Harry, did it stand up for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Although at 91, I was 16. I was probably just still staying in with my parents watching Blind Date and Hello Hello on a Saturday night.
So it didn't really sing to you then?
No, not then. But I went back and got it later on.
If there's one guy who was pilled up, it was Rufus.
Steve, I was playing Conkers when I was 16. In fact, I played until I was about 17, 18. I look at kids in bus stops now at that age, think, you don't know what it's like to have a decent game of Conkers. Maybe you should.
But thoughts on that tune?
Yeah, that was fantastic.
It stands out?
Yeah, it really does. And I went through a slight patch where I realised we were only 4 minutes into it and we had another 8 to go, and I thought, I'm not sure if it's going to quite if I'm going to take it. My ignorance, are they from Manchester or are they from London?
No, actually, they were from London. They were one of the few bands to sort of be corralled into the Manchester scene.
Because they sounded very Manchester, didn't they? But no, I liked it. I really liked it.
And finally, Dan.
Yeah, it really wears the 12 minutes, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it?
We don't play that many long songs on this show, but that one deserves the full 12 because it's about excess and going nutbags. So it needed all 12 minutes, I think.
I think it's absolutely tremendous. I felt the same way as you were, because I was thinking if I made a terrible decision here, are people switching off their radios? But if they've stuck around to hear us appraising it now, then they must have enjoyed it, because it's tremendous. It's epic in every sense. You never quite know where it's going to go next musically. It's a masterpiece of sorts, and probably best that they don't get back together. It sounds like Barry Mooncult probably can't cut it anymore. Now then, before we leave, I just want to give you my feedback on your appraisals.
That was basically the reason for the 12-minute song, wasn't it? So you could get some work done.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting because I've listened to what you've said, I've assessed you over the last 12 months, and I've come to the conclusion that, as a collective, you in many ways represent the BBC. You almost are the perfect BBC broadcasting posse. For instance, Rufus, you're obviously very informed and intelligent and well-spoken, but also archaic, out of time, and increasingly obsolete in the modern world. Sammy, you balance that out in some ways by being crass, dumbed down, and tokenistic. Harry, you fulfil the important BBC remit of being smug, bigoted, and arrogant. Thank you. And Dan, you, in one word, are pointless. So I feel that actually you've all done brilliantly well over the last 12 months in symbolising, in essence, what the BBC is all about as we approach 2009. So give yourself a massive round of applause. As we say, we'll be back live next week for our Christmas Steve show.
Christmas!
Snow red as strawberries in summertime.
From one of the best albums of the year, Fleet Foxes, of course, White Winter Hypnol, kick-starting this Christmas Steve show. Round of applause, surely, for that, guys. And I would like straight away to dedicate that song. I rarely do that, as you know, but I like to dedicate it to, let me just check their names, Jess and Max. They helped me outside earlier. I was rushing in. I've been in a bit of a fluster, you know, doing some last-minute Christmas shopping and the like. Got my carrier bag. I've always got a carrier bag with me, you know. I've got the regular bag and then something in a carrier. You don't need to know what it is.
It's a classy look.
It's a classy look. Might be newspapers, you know. It might be something. Maybe if I've just walked out of, say, Forbidden Planet, the nerdy comic book store. But yes, I was rushing around, and they approached me in the street. Initially, I thought they were kind of Christmas muggers, but they were from New Zealand. They were very sweet. They were big Steve fans, and I actually used the phrase. I said, "Guys, I'm in such a hurry. Walk with me," which I thought was pretty classy, sort of thing that Jack Bauer would say. And anyway, they walked with me into the little corner shop opposite. I was watching there. I had to get, obviously, a little packet of mini cheddars. You know, because you know I need that before the show just to kind of zone in, you know. And we've often discussed in the past, and maybe this would be, we could probably talk about this for 25 minutes, get people to phone in. Is it a crisp or is it a small biscuit? And you know, I would argue it's perhaps a crisp. But anyway, don't get involved. Don't get, you know, well, there's a lot of nodding already going on. People are genuine at home now, not even listening to the rest of this anecdote. They are just arguing amongst themselves. Biscuit or crisp.
No, everyone's just saying, obviously not a crisp. Crisp is a potato-based thing.
Yeah, but you've just labelled a crisp that. You've slammed, you know, the cheddar, as though it were not. But surely it fits into the crisp mold. You might well have it instead of a packet of crisps.
They're probably thinking, I don't care who he thinks it is. It's obviously a biscuit. Why doesn't he get on with the rest of this?
But a savoury biscuit. I mean, yes, they do exist, but I see it. I mean, where did I go to seek for it? Did I look in the biscuit section? I went straight to the crisp section. That was where it was.
That's interesting. That is true.
Thank
it's
you very much.
It's a savoury
If you
biscuit.
have biscuits for cheese biscuits, you know, you'll have something in there. A maxi cheddar.
Can I throw googly in? What about the twiglet?
Yeah.
Wither the twiglet.
Wither the twiglet. Anyway, I didn't want to talk about that because that's the sort of thing that makes up the content of almost every other radio show. Okay, we're not going to start, you know, looking back at hilarious Christmas TV of the past, right? Anyway, Max and Jess, they walked with me in there. I'm looking for cough mixture as well. Okay, get to the checkout. I've not got enough money. Ended up borrowing money from Jess.
No.
She offered. I mean, I was hoping she'd offer because I was struggling. I made a big song and dance about not being able to have time to go to the cash point. Without a moment's hesitation, whoomp, straight into the purse.
How much?
Gave me £1.
Okay.
Which was nice. I ended up giving her change, which I thought, and she took that a bit eagerly, actually annoyed me. I was thinking she should have probably said, no, don't worry about that, it's a pleasure to give it to you, Steve, but she was quite happy to have the change.
How old were they?
Probably our age. Yeah. So anyway, they were very, very sweet, very nice. They helped me out in that difficult moment. It was awkward, but I'm, you know, happy to have taken their money. Merry Christmas to them. I hope they're listening. Anyway, I dedicate Fleet Foxes to them. And very sweet. And this is what a lovely example of Christmas cheer at such an early stage in the show, you know, because we can get cynical on this programme in the past. And I want this to be a show of 2 hours of optimism, upbeat, good-natured fun, alright? Harry, you're the man to come to for that.
Well, usually, Steve, as you know, I'm usually a picture like, but I've been so ill. I've been just incredible. And I know everyone gets ill this time of year, everyone gets colds, but I mean, this was something else. This really was incredible. Just mind-numbing pain.
Really? Pain?
And phlegm. I mean, I don't want to get too graphic.